Good evening, everybody. Today is Thursday, February 28th, 2019, and very weird setup is occurring. So the GFS is showing that there's going to be a snow event in New York City, and a pretty good one at that. Well, a pretty good storm is going to form. So that's what's so confusing, is showing a pretty good event. This model is showing a snowstorm. Here, this model is saying we're going to have a rainstorm. This model here then saying we're going to have a snowstorm. I think neither is going to happen. I think this event will be rain or very little, maybe just a little snow, and this event will be a rainstorm. I even posted on Facebook that this is going to be a rain event because a lot of the other reliable models are saying this is going to be a rain event. Even look at this model, the NavGem. Look what it's showing. It's showing mostly a rain event. Rain event. The Canadian is saying that this is going to be a rain event. I mean, every model is saying that this is going to be a rain event. Even when the Canadian was saying this is going to be a snow event, and all the models were saying this is going to be a snow event, I was saying this is going to be a rain event because I just was basing this on my luck. Like, oh, since we're going to have very low snow this year, But of course, I actually based it on the pattern. That the pattern was that the setup was in a way that just doesn't support a snowstorm in New York City. It just doesn't. Look, the North Atlantic Oscillation right now is positive. It's positive right now. Look at this. Right now, it's positive to neutral, and then it's going to dip to neutral, and then it's going to continue to be positive. The Arctic Oscillation is positive right now. Everything is just screaming warm air for the Northeast. Look at this. Positive AO, and the PNA is negative. Look at this. It's negative. I mean, it's neutral right now, but it's going to dip negative. So the fact that there's going to be such a cold outbreak is very unusual. Like, okay, this is not a polar vortex, because in order to have a polar vortex, the AO has to be negative. This was when a polar vortex came down. So this is something completely different. This cold outbreak is, I think it's a March setup when you have, so this is not a polar vortex coming down. In fact, let's look at the 500 millibor temps. This is the polar vortex right here. And it's not coming down. You're having a pretty much zonal flow across the country. It's just that a piece of cold air off of this vortex is coming down. Yet, the polar vortex is still staying north. This is when it might actually go negative. Well, when it might go potentially negative. But the flow, by the way, is zonal. Look at this. You see how very tightly wound up the polar vortex is? That's why it's positive. Even though it's much further south than normal, it's still considered to be a positive AO. But looking at the temperatures, they're not going to be as cold as they were in January. Even though the polar vortex will be stronger, you're having the March sun warming things up, so it's not going to be horribly, unbearably cold. It's actually going to be 20s for highs, teens and single digits for lows. So we're not going to have nowhere near the cold like we had in January and February. Nowhere near the cold. In fact, look at this. The model's already showing them the March sun warming everything up. Look at that. Already forecasting mid to upper 70s already. So, you're going to have temperatures in the 60s this day because look at this. Remember, 384. You go to hour 18, let me have temperatures like in the 60s. So it's already showing a warm up in just a couple weeks. And let's look at the snowfall for hour 384 for New York City. Yeah, this is grossly overdone. Way overdone for the Northeast. I mean, look at this. This is definitely overdone. This is overdone right here. I mean, most of the models, look what they're forecasting, the NAM. And I mean the NAM, not the 3km. I mean the NAM itself is showing this. Just look at that. Like, it's not showing a significant amount of snow. It's showing, the most it's showing is maybe 10 inches. And even that could be, I think, is overdone. I think a good swath of 4 to 6, maybe an isolated 8 amount is possible. But 10 inches, 14 inches like what the GFS is showing, I think that's way overdone. Let's look at the current HRRR, and let's just look at it. I'm going to focus on the Northeast for the first 10 minutes, and I'll focus on the rest of the country after that. See, it's showing this model, and here's the system that's coming in. So it has some moisture with it. It definitely does. Oh, okay. Maybe the GFS does see something going on. I mean, look at this. Let's look at surface temperatures, though. By the way, this is Friday afternoon now. Is this going to come in as rain or snow? Let's check. 35 degrees. And you have a low here, and it's going to be night soon. So it looks like it could be snow. I mean, it's definitely... Let's look at precipitation. Let's look at precipitation type. And we're right along the line. Oh, man, this is going to be a very close call. And, yeah, it looks like something may actually happen. Yikes. Yeah, it looks like we might get a coastal storm after all. Might have to wait for the 30s for the 60 to come out in a couple hours, but it definitely looks like something is trying to occur. Let's compare this run to going 4 hours back. This would be 22Z. Much different. I mean, look at this. Look at the difference between these runs. I mean, just look at this. Huge difference between. I mean, the difference is huge. And you just look at this. Look at just how backs north and west become stronger. Let's look at simulated reflectivity. Like, you will see what I'm talking about here. Yellows and oranges, a lot of moisture with this. It went further south, picked up Gulf moisture, and is now heading northward. This actually might be the big storm. I mean, the GFS might be hinting on something, possibly. So, I definitely did not expect this. In fact, none of the models did. This completely stunned me. This completely just threw me off whatever I expected. I mean, this is what they were showing 4 hours ago. It's showing moderate precipitation heading into the northeast. I mean, this is definitely snow, by the way. This is snow coming in for New York City, so this is showing all snow, thinking, oh, I don't know, like, this is all snow. And now it's showing even heavier stuff? Yeah, that's definitely, impressive that it's showing that even. I thought that was overdone, but the fact that it's hinting that this storm might just do so much snow, yeah, that is definitely. Let's look. Oh, 0.41. I mean, I'm going to have to up this like 0.6 maybe even. And it's still showing, wow, a good swath of snow. So it looks like we might get a pretty good snow event. I mean, the GFS is still an outlier, and this ref is not still showing less snow. So let's wait until morning before I make my final call. But I believe that a good 4 to 8 inches now will fall in New York City. Yeah, I mean, this completely just blindsided me. Did not see it coming. Okay, let's look at the Northeast now. I mean, the country as a whole. So this is going to be Winter Storm Ryan, by the way. But still, this warm air intrusion might occur. The accumulations might get held down. So that occurs. I'm forecasting 1 to 3 inches, but if we get that big burst of precipitation, that big burst, it's going to cause dynamic cooling. First of all, the storm is going to be intensifying, which will pull down cold air from the upper levels. Then you'll have intensifying precipitation, which will cause evaporational cooling, and will, just because if you have dry air and you have heavy precipitation falling, you'll have that evaporational cooling, which will cool down the surface and the upper altitudes too. So that is definitely a possibility, and I don't think the GFS sometimes has a trouble handling that. And I think the HRRR usually handles it pretty well, especially usually. The RAP does a pretty good job with that too. The RAP just updated just a few hours ago. the last wrap I saw was actually the 0Z run. That's the last update I saw. So looking at the 0Z run, which is the one I last saw. Actually, no, it was the 0Z. I already saw the 0Z. And the 0Z wrap that just updated. So this is the 3Z wrap. And it's kind of showing the same thing. It's showing this burst of precipitation coming in. Though this could be underdone a little bit. So the wrap sometimes does underdo a little bit. But now it's definitely showing a pretty good event now. Let's look at snowfall. So about an inch, and then, wow, definitely showing a good snowfall event. So I would say between 4 to 7 inches. So 4. I know I can't draw with this. You know, I don't really have an app where I can draw, but yeah, it looks like we might get a pretty good snow event here in the city. So I'm forecasting a widespread 4 to 6 inches for this area with some isolated amounts up to 8 inches possible. So I think the National Weather Service will come out with a winter storm warning, or at least a winter weather advisory by the time I wake up. At the present moment, there are no such advisories in effect. There are no advisories at all. Nothing. Look at this. There's nothing in effect. I think by tomorrow they will definitely issue advisories. Advisories are definitely going to be issued, I believe. By the time tomorrow afternoon, evening comes, they will definitely issue winter storm warnings. Winter storm warnings will definitely be issued, and here is that band of snow that's coming in. It's still some time away, but look at this. Look, and that's just the first part of Winter Storm Ryan. And now we have to focus on Winter Storm Scott. And Scott, by the way, hasn't even made landfall in California. But this storm will be moving so quick that it's going to cross the entire country. And just look at this. California on Saturday and on the Atlantic on Monday. This storm is moving faster than the Amtrak. Usually it takes at least 5, 6, 2, 3 days for this storm to cross the whole country. But this will cross the whole country in just a few hours. This is like a super express. I'm calling Scott Express, the Scott Express right here. This storm is taking its sweet time, while Scott is just gonna go boom and it's just out of there. I mean, look at this. Scott is just, look at this. It's gonna be in Louisiana Sunday around 8 a.m. and it's going to be in New York City in only 24 hours. This is a very fast moving storm. This storm is moving at about 60, if I could do the math correctly, about 1,000 miles between here and here, 1,000 miles, or maybe like 1,100 miles. So crossing, and that's about 80, 90 miles an hour forward movement. I mean, this storm is really racing along. Look at that. This is just a really fast, really quick hitting storm. So precipitation based on this run, it starts at 21Z and ends by 12Z. That's like a 15, 16 hour snow event. And the thing is, it's elongated. Look at this. Usually when you see a setup like this, just the way it looks now, you would think, oh, it's going to last at least 24 hours, 30 hours, you know, thinking the storm is going to be creeping along. But no, it's just moving. It's hauling ass. It's really moving fast. And that's because of the jet stream. This is a really strong jet streak here. I mean, look at these winds. I mean, these winds are going to be for screaming. I can only imagine how high the fast jet stream winds are going to be moving with this system. Oh yeah, I mean, look at this. Oh yeah, they're definitely, look at this jet streak right here. They're moving 169 knots. That's very fast. Oops. And just look at this. Hour 81. So yeah, this stream is really scurrying along here. And here's the polar vortex right here, by the way. Still in Canada. It's not coming into the United States, but looks like a piece of it might try to get into the Northeast. But despite that, it's not going to be brutally cold like it was in January, even though it will be at higher altitudes. Because of the March sun warming the ground, it will kind of moderate the temperatures a little bit. And by the way, this is completely unexpected. This snow event for tomorrow, now that it's forecast, I'm like, wow, did not see this coming. Even the NAM, I think until the 6Z, it will not show that much snow. So, and Winter Storm Scott is, of course, is going to give California more rain, which they don't need. They're having so much flooding. My heart goes out to the people of California. I hope they recover quickly from this, and I hope it doesn't bring any more mudslides. They don't need any more of that. You don't need droughts, either, but too much rain and too little rain are both bad. They need the right balance. Like how it is on the East Coast. You get, rain all year round. Hopefully the jet stream will one day start moving back into California, and California will get more stable amounts of rain. But with climate change and these omega blocks occurring, it's going to be more difficult for California to get its normal rainfall. It's either going to be too much or too little, and hopefully that will change in the future. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll make another update tomorrow evening or tomorrow afternoon when time allows. Or I'll make an outside video update. Thank you for watching. Bye.